Welcome everyone. Sean Thomas, your host for Ocala Arts and Entertainment Podcast. We have a special treat for you, and I'm sitting here with the one and only Cynthia Graham. And we learn a whole lot about Marion County. We learn about her she's an author, photographer, educator, a lot of stuff to unpack. We are grateful for getting the opportunity to use this wonderful space. This is the museum we're in, Marion County Black History Museum. And of course at Howard Academy. And thanks to Davida Randolph for allowing us to use this space. So we want to welcome our guest here, Cynthia Graham. Morning.
Good morning.
Beautiful. You hear that voice? So we want to kick things off, Cynthia, with letting people know, were you born and raised in Ocala?
No, I was actually born in South Carolina.
Okay.
But I've been in the Ocala area over 40 years.
Okay, 40 years.
Over 40.
Over 40 years. So it's almost like you were born here because you just turned, I think was it 39 years? You do. Yeah. So over 40 years in Ocala, and walk us through a little bit your experience coming up as a young lady in Ocala. Like, let's kick things off with your school side of things. Talk to us a little bit about what did school do for you in Ocala coming up?
Well, school did a lot of things for a lot of us. However, the part that we didn't get was the education in our Black history facts that happened here in Marion County. The school system is wonderful. It's great. I was raised on the west side of Ocala.
Right.
And we have a beautiful community, but learning the history of the community makes it even more interesting.
Right.
And sharing that information with other individuals.
So the school education system didn't really delve too much into that.
Correct.
Okay.
The historical aspects of Marion County, it was specific to certain eras.
Right.
But when it comes down to local history, that local history is missing, and some of the Black history is missing. A lot of the Black history is missing from the history books. And my quote is always, history is history.
Yes.
But who's writing the story?
Yes.
So it's depending on who writes that story, reflects what we learn in school, in the education system, no matter where we are.
Yes.
Marion County, Florida, wherever we are. So history is a great aspect of our culture, but it's limited in certain areas.
Right. So at what point in your upbringing did you realize that something is off here? I'm not receiving. Did you hear other folks talk about certain things that you didn't hear in the classroom for you to start noticing a bit of information that was left out?
Well, I think what it was, some of our teachers would provide that information to us individually.
Okay.
On special projects. However, that wasn't a part of the curricula.
I see.
So you have those great teachers like Florine Gabriel Reese, Ernestine Stevenson. Many of them no longer in the area. However, the teachers provided that access. It's just like Howard Academy that we're sitting at now. This is one of the oldest African American schools that existed since 1866 in Marion County. We also had Fessenden, but as Fessenden is still operational, but it came as a private school in 1868.
Right.
But that history is here for us to find out and to learn about. Again, it has to be inclusive with the material that we're training our children, teaching our children.
And this is why before we, close off this wonderful interview, you would learn more about where we are in this wonderful museum here for you to come and check out all of the works that is inside here. Of course, a lot of it on display comes from this lady here. So you are moving through the educational system in schools as a young lady coming up. But then at some point, you will become an educator.
Yes. So I worked in the Head Start program for about 25 years.
Head Start.
Head Start Early Childhood Educational Program.
Okay. This was at a school or something, or what?
They're all over the place.
Okay. Okay.
It's a federally funded program for low-income families, and I started as a Head Start parent, just moved back to Florida.
Right.
Children needed to be in school. I qualified, signed my children up, and then I was hired on the spot immediately when I applied for a position to work. I had Connie Howell, I had Marilyn McNeely, who was one of the social workers that instantly drug me around, for lack of a better word.
Yes.
And I was hired on the spot for the position. And the interview took place here at Howard Academy.
Wow. Some deep history.
Yes.
So you are inside of there learning stuff, and that is going to propel you to become an educator.
Correct. And preparing me to become an educator, it was a challenge because I had a 2-year degree in early childhood education, but I went back to school, and as part of my plan with my employer, which was Childhood Development Services, that still exists here in Marion County, my boss, Thelma Griffith, insisted that all of her supervisors go back to school and increase their educational skills or pick up some kind of training.
Right.
And a part of my plan was to increase my skills. So continued until I got my master's degree in education, but I continued to work in the social services field. So most of my experience with the Head Start program is working with low-income families, the children and their families. You work with the children, you work with the families.
Yes. And then at some point you are moving not moving away, but you are going into becoming a photographer.
Photography has always been there.
Oh yeah?
Photography has always been there since high school.
So it started in high school. What inspired that? I mean, what happened for you to start looking into taking photos during school time?